That's incredibly liberating when you sit there and you realize, I don't have to do anything except for stay white and die. Now once everything becomes a choice, everything becomes so much more enjoyable. And now all of a sudden that pill is not so hard to take because you see the effects of it. If you had to take a big old horse pill like that every day, that would suck. It's hard to swallow that big pill, it's terrible. Okay, but this thing is gonna stop you from ever getting cancer. Or this is gonna cure your cancer. Can I take 2? All of a sudden, it's not gonna be such a hard task anymore because you see the positive effects of it. Sacrifice is not gonna be sacrifice anymore if you can look forward and see something great that you're gonna get at the end of it. It's not just gonna be, I have to sacrifice this for something better down the road. It's, oh, I'm gonna sacrifice this. I can't wait for that better thing down the road. Man, that's gonna be exciting. You don't owe it to anybody. It's a choice if you give your talents to the world. It's your choice if you give your love to the world. Nobody deserves your love. Nobody deserves your talents. And you don't deserve anybody's love. You don't deserve anybody's talents. That's why when someone gives it to you, now it's precious. You're an ungrateful person. It's gonna be difficult for you to ever be happy. But as soon as you can really appreciate love, appreciate the bonus, and appreciate the house, and appreciate the car, and appreciate the opportunity to provide those things, not just for yourself, but hopefully for loved ones as well, there you go. Yeah, that's coping. And it's helping other people cope because the person who's suffering realizes, I don't want anybody else to suffer this way. Franco doesn't want anybody else to suffer as much as he did. And it helps him to cope, and it helps the world to cope, and then we can start to get over things. Some people who have no senses of humor, that's why they're so miserable. Those people who run around, you can't joke about that. You can't laugh about that. So you're such a miserable person because you can't joke or laugh about anything. That's why you want the world to be as miserable as you are. I feel like if somebody has an incredible talent, that they somehow owe it to the world. An example I was using last period was a painter. Let's say you have a person who's a painter and they just make these incredible paintings that are so beautiful that it actually makes reality seem deficient in comparison to how beautiful these paintings are. And yet that person decides that they don't want to be a painter. They want to work at Walmart. That was the example from last period. And people might look at that person and say, why are you working at Walmart? I enjoy it. I like it. I like interacting with people. It makes me happy. Yeah, but you could be so much more. So much more than happy? What more is there? No, but you could really contribute to the world. Don't wanna. Want to be happy. Oh, but you have this incredible talent. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say. So you're not going to paint? No, I'm going to keep collecting cards at Walmart. I enjoy that. It makes me happy. I like being outside. I like interacting with people. I think the vest looks cool. I like being able to, that long line of being, it's a challenge to maneuver it. I like it. I enjoy it. And we'll see people with incredible talents or what we think that they could do so much more. And we'll be sad for them that they choose not to do so much more, but that is the choice. You can choose what to do with your talents. You don't owe your talents to anybody else. If you're an incredible painter, it might be a shame that you don't make the art, just only in the sense that we won't get a chance to enjoy it. But think about how incredibly selfish that is for me to insist that you become a painter so that I can enjoy your paintings. You don't owe your talents to anybody. It'd be nice if you used them to benefit other people. That way your talents are bigger than yourself. But understand that when I say that of course is a very personal judgment. It's me saying, I think you should do that with your talents. Even if I don't benefit from it. In fact, probably especially if I don't benefit from it. But if the world can benefit from it, that might be a good thing. But that's going to be up to you to decide. It's a tragedy when a lot of people will not use their talents, but they won't use them because they just don't believe in them. Like you might see a painting from somebody and just say, this is just unbelievable painting. And yet that person might look at their painting and just say, this is trash. This is terrible. I don't like it. Oh, but you don't see how great this is? No, I don't. I think it's mediocre at best. So a lot of people just won't see their own talent, and that's why they won't share it, because they don't believe in it enough. So how is it that you fix that? I don't know. I don't know. But that's beyond the scope of what he's saying. All he's saying is you don't owe anything. You don't owe things in life. I'll leave it at that. You don't owe things in life. But sometimes things are fair, and those can be particularly scary times, and things will make sense. And sometimes things are so unfair that you doubt everything. I think that that's where this karma thing kind of comes in a lot of times. We're trying to make sense of this. Why is it that this bad thing happened to this person over here? Well, they must have deserved it, because bad things, I mean, imagine if what you believe instead is that whether you're good or whether you're bad, that good things and bad things will happen to you. It doesn't matter. Well, so if I'm a bad person, good things can happen to me. Yes. If I'm a good person, bad things can happen to me. Yes. So then where's the incentive to be a good person or a bad person? Well, the incentive can only come from one place at that point, which is inside of yourself. So I should do good even if bad stuff happens to me? Maybe, yeah. Why? Because it's good, because it's the right thing to do. Are you doing good things because you want good things out of it? Or are you doing good things, or are you doing good things no matter what? If you're only doing good things because you want good things out of it, then you can't really call yourself a good person. You can call yourself a person who does good things, but you just kind of operate like a credit card. You know, I'll keep doing it as long as it benefits me. So then you're self-centered and you're selfish. Would we look at people who are self-centered and selfish and say, good person? We typically wouldn't. I mean, do you tell the truth even when it benefits you? And so even when it doesn't benefit you? Do you not steal even when stealing would benefit you? And so if you do those things no matter what, if you do the right things no matter what, then yeah, you could probably at that point be the closest that we have to a good person. But here we're trying to make sense of it with karma. Why is it? You know, it's almost like we're trying to find an incentive to do good things. And so maybe, you know, if it incentivizes you to do good things, then just understand that you're doing it for the incentive, not for the thing itself. You're doing it because you're afraid of having bad stuff happen to you. You're not doing, you know, it's kind of like a person who obeys the law just because it's the law. You're not a good person, you're an obedient person. You know, that's what you can gain from doing philosophy or from doing moral reasoning, which is that you do without being commanded what other people only do when they're commanded by the law. And those are kind of dangerous people, because those are the people who will look around. When they see nobody around, then they'll steal something. Or they'll stab you in the back if they think they can get away with it. And those are dangerous people. Far more dangerous than strong people. Strong people can stand by their convictions. They can do the right thing even when it costs them, because they're strong enough to stand up to it. They're strong enough to stand up to the consequences. A lot of people are not. A lot of people are in very bad positions in life. And we put ourselves in bad positions. You can look at it more practically, maybe, less ethereally. If as you grow up, you buy a house, you have a mortgage, and you buy a new car, and then you have to have insurance for the car, and you're paying for gas, and then you buy a television, and you have a cell phone, you can quickly see how all of your expenses every month add up pretty fast. And then we'll look at all of this stuff that we have, and we'll say, man, life is so expensive. Why do things have to be so expensive? Well, you buy a new house, you buy a new car, you buy a new cell phone, you buy a new television. And then you're scratching, and you're like, there has to be more to life than this. And then your boss comes along and says, I need you to work Sunday. And you say, yes, sir, boss, whatever you need. Even though in your head, you'd rather go do stuff with your family on Sunday. But you don't have a choice now. You're buried under a new car, under a new house, under a new cell phone, under a new television. And you have to recognize that when you do that, you're trading off your life, your time, which is what your life is made of, your time, for those things. And hopefully you can actually look at it and say, it's worth it. Missing my son or daughter's softball game, baseball game, is not as important to me as this car. Because that is a choice, and that really is the choice that you make. Because, you know, money only matters to people who have to pay bills. Like right now, money, you think about what you would do with money. Probably just spend it. Because you don't have bills, most of you. So you would just kind of go out and you'd buy stuff. But if you all of a sudden had bills to pay, now you'd have some stress. Every month I have to earn how much every month? So I need to get a job that pays this much. Okay, so now you don't take a job that you want, perhaps you take a job that you have to. Hopefully you take the job that you want. Hopefully you get the job that you want because you're trading your life for it. So hopefully you can trade something that you want, your life, for another thing that you want, which is the job that you want. Hopefully you're not trading something that you want, which is your life, for something that you don't want, which is a job that you don't want. Hopefully you can get those two things in alignment. Those are pretty fortunate people. So what do you do when those two things are not in alignment? When the thing that you want, your life, is not being sacrificed for something that you want, which is your job. Then you just have to make the best of it. You have to optimize it. You have to find something in your job that makes it a little bit more worthwhile. I know I haven't told you in a while, so you may have forgotten, but life is suffering. And you don't get to choose not to suffer, but what you can hopefully choose, not hopefully, what you can choose to do is suffer for things that are worthwhile. Find some things that make the suffering worthwhile, so that the suffering is not so bad. It's not so miserable. Yeah, I have to go to this job, and maybe you don't like the job so much because you don't feel like you're doing anything particularly worthwhile. But I mean, maybe having fun at the job, finding coworkers you can have fun with, joking around. I don't know, there's something about me that I go into places now, and especially if I'm the only one in there. Yesterday I went into a Dunkin' Donuts, and it was very early in the morning. I had to be somewhere yesterday early in the morning. I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts before I went in, and the people there were like joking around. They helped me, and then the person behind the counter was just like spewing the F word. And I was thinking, like, is there something about me that they look at me like, oh, he's fine. It's okay to say it there. And was it a bad thing? No, they were just having fun behind the counter. They weren't harming anybody. They were enjoying themselves. It's hard to do at 6 in the morning. How many of you are sitting here right now going like, what? They're working in a donut shop at 6 in the morning? Lucky. And having to pretend to be alert and awake. And they've been there probably since, like, I'm guessing they opened at 5. So they've probably been there for a little while. But they're taking a job that they probably, and how many of you sit there and go like, selling donuts at 6 in the morning in La Jolla? Talk about meaning and purpose. Man, I can't think of anything more meaningful and purposeful than slinging overpriced donuts. Yeah. You want to do it for the rest of your life? If you could find something enjoyable in it, yeah. And it's not that it's and by the way, as I say this, please don't take from this that I'm putting the job down. It's not a bad job. Any job that provides for your family and does the thing that and fulfills your purpose for that job is a good thing. There's no such thing as demeaning work if you're doing it for meaningful reasons. But how many of you are sitting here right now dreaming of that job someday? The meaningful job or the donut job? Both. That's a good answer. That's probably the best answer I could have gotten. Both. Something that's meaningful and something that you'd enjoy.
Donuts.
What's that?
Something that has donuts.
Yeah, something that has donuts. Any of you guys realize that if you work at C's Candy, you get to eat as much candy as you want? Ooh. True story. Yeah. I imagine they do that because how much candy do you suppose you eat on the first day?
A lot.
Oh yeah. And then how much do you suppose you eat the second day? A little less, yeah. And then like 2 weeks later, just take your candy, bro. And that's probably what they do with their employees. I'm guessing that's why they do it. Because people probably get that job if they told you do not eat the candy. And first chance you get. And you kind of like make bad employees out of your employees. But instead, I mean, how much does the candy cost them? It probably costs them $30, $40 in candy before you get sick of it. And finally you're like, oh, that's pretty cheap. 30, 40 bucks to straighten an employee out? That's not bad money. That's not a bad investment.
I do that with this. It's run out.
I believe also Subway does that.
Subway does that too? No. I don't know. I sit here sometimes, especially during summers, man, because I really enjoy working summer schools, but man, there's those other 3 weeks, you know? There's Christmas break. I sit there, I'm like, Christmas break, you know? Sometimes I want to go apply like at UPS or at the post office or something. Just, I've never worked at UPS, I've never worked at the post office before. And you can take those jobs and they'll give you like a 3-week thing. I go to Target like every day. There's a Target a few blocks from my house, literally. I have to drive past it to get to my house. And I stop in almost every day. Yesterday I forgot my wallet at home. I had to go home and get my wallet before going to Target. What do I get? I don't know. I let Target decide what I get. Let it speak to me. And then during those breaks, I sit there, I'm like, I wonder if they hire for 3 weeks at a time. Why? I've never worked at Target. Is it because I have a longing desire to work at Target? No. How much fun would it be? A lot. Why? Because I don't have to be there. Anytime I decide not to, I can go, no more. Take off lanyard. I appreciate the opportunity to be employed at this facility, but I will now be departing my employment. Huh? I'm quitting. I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. You've been here 3 days. You're giving us 2 weeks notice? Right thing to do. Karma. Which is, by the way, something I did once. I worked at Costco for 4 days once. And I gave them a 2 week notice. They're like, are you really giving us a 2 week notice? Mm-hmm. And then they took me to the manager, the guy who managed the whole store. And the guy was like, yeah, you're quitting. I said, yeah. And he's like, why? I go, I don't need the job. I just did it because I needed something to do. And I didn't need to work anymore, so I was like, I just needed something to do. And I don't like the hours. It was 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. Like, starting work at 3 a.m. sucks. So he's like, do you want to be a manager? So we have a management opening. We can hire you as a manager, and then which you have to like work your way towards that. But I already had like degrees and stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a manager. So what are you gonna do? I go, oh no. So I moved to San Diego. Find something to do. But why can you? But that job, I enjoyed the job itself. It was just stocking shelves. That's all it was. That's all I had to do. But my shelves were stocked, bro. I made like designs and stuff out of the merchandise, and you'd go by and you'd be like, it's better than reality. Reality now pales in comparison to this box of ramen. Why? Because you enjoy it. You enjoy it. We don't usually enjoy things that we have to do. That's why I tell you, I don't have to do anything except for stay white and die, man. And I don't say that. And I don't say that as, all I have to do is stay white. No, I'm saying it like, that's incredibly liberating when you sit there and you realize, I don't have to do anything except for stay white and die. Now once everything becomes a choice, everything becomes so much more enjoyable. You know, you can sit there and say, oh my God, life is so expensive. I have this car, I have this house, I have this car. I have this house that my family's living in. I have this cell phone. I have this, yeah, I'll work Sunday. Yeah. You know, because you like the thing that you have. You like what you've created, and now all of a sudden that pill is not so hard to take because you see the effects of it. If you had to take a big old horse pill like that every day, that would suck. It's hard to swallow that big pill. It's terrible. Okay, but this thing is going to stop you from ever getting cancer. Or this is going to cure your cancer. Can I take 2? All of a sudden, it's not going to be such a hard task anymore because you see the positive effects of it. Sacrifice is not going to be sacrifice anymore if you can look forward and see something great that you're going to get at the end of it. It's not just going to be, I have to sacrifice this for something better down the road. It's, oh, I'm going to sacrifice this. I can't wait for that better thing down the road, man. That's going to be exciting. I'm going to wait for it, and I'm going to enjoy everything that's along that way because everything along that way is now a choice. You don't owe it to anybody. It's a choice if you give your talents to the world. It's your choice if you give your love to the world. Nobody deserves your love. Nobody deserves your talents. And you don't deserve anybody's love. You don't deserve anybody's talents. That's why when someone gives it to you, now it's precious. When your boss pays you, you don't feel grateful to the boss. The boss pays you and gives you a bonus on top of that, you might be grateful for the bonus. It's hard to go through life if you feel like you deserve the bonus. Well, that's the least you could do. You're an ungrateful person. It's going to be difficult for you to ever be happy. But as soon as you can really appreciate love, and appreciate the bonus, and appreciate the house, and appreciate the car, and appreciate the opportunity to provide those things, not just for yourself, but hopefully for loved ones as well, there you go. To be able to give your art to the world, not because they praise you for it, but because you can say, look at that person over there smiling, and they're looking at my painting. Look at that person who's actually laughing because of some joke I made or whatever. Made the world better with that thing. That's cool. That's when you can see, like, with some people who suffer tremendously. Some people suffer tremendously. Some people suffer tremendously. Day in, day out, and you'll never even know it. They'll talk to you. They'll tell you jokes. They'll drop wisdom on you. You'll never even know it. And you'll be like, wow, that person's, yeah, I really enjoy that. And that person, you've heard that before, right? The people who suffer the most are the ones who give the most joy to the world.
Yeah,
Comedians.
Like the Jewish guy in the
Jews.
The camp where he had lost his family.
Yeah,
and
Frankl.
stuff.
Yeah. Viktor Frankl. That guy suffers in the concentration camp, and then he gets out and he doesn't spend the rest of his life. Do you think that guy just forgot about the fact that his whole family was wiped out? No, but he would come out and he would still tell concentration camp jokes. That guy had jokes. He didn't make fun of it, but he laughed about it. That's the difference.
Coping mechanism.
What's that?
That's coping.
Yeah, that's coping. And it's helping other people cope, because the person who's suffering realizes, I don't want anybody else to suffer this way. Frankl doesn't want anybody else to suffer as much as he did. And it helps him to cope, and it helps the world to cope, and that we can start to get over things. So when people who have no senses of humor, that's why they're so miserable. Those people who run around, you can't joke about that. You can't laugh about that. That's why you're such a miserable person, because you can't joke or laugh about anything. That's why you want the world to be as miserable as you are. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques?